I've been thinking a lot about Robert De Niro's cock, Wayne, one of the architects. In fact, this pretty much goes for all the architects. But that event that took place when he looked at Robert De Niro's cock and the way he reacted to it, and the way I reacted to it, to me it was nothing. To Wayne, to Robert De Niro's cock, Wayne, one of the architects, like I've already said, he had this reaction to it, which meant that he'd already become too into his one of the other architects who he was associated with. Let's put it that way. I think it is significant. It is, people may realise this by now. It is quite a significant event. When you contrast me and him, for example. I suppose this goes with quite a few people. People's relationships with texts. And I've been talking a lot about shelf stackers and socket girls, where you've got people like with the incident, with Wayne and Robert De Niro's car, where his relationship with what went into his relationship with Robert De Niro's cock and what went into my approach to Robert De Niro's cock. Think about it, right? Quite significant event to think about. And you look over that that architect's life, basically, and you see that yet again he's this other person who has poor approach to texts, which sort of indicates something that needs to be sorted out. I've got one of the playlists. I've started listening to music, more music. The music I've been listening to, I think, for quite a while, or for a long while. And in one of my playlists about me and my future Mrs. in Amsterdam talking in a cafe, I've got an audio of the titles from the Open University, which will, I've already sat there with her in a cafe, and I know how the conversation will go, pretty much. It's a much better approach than what we get from the architects. That sort of approach to texts has done, it seems to me, hasn't really done many people many favours. It's essentially, like I said, turned pretty much everywhere I can tell. It's essentially, you boil it down, they're all branches of Tesco, with shelf stackers off their head, like socket girls. These receptacles for bullshit ideologies and a bullshit approach to texts, like they had, like so many people had, between 96 and 2000, and still seem to struggle with to this day. I think we all know what the scientists have been trying to do with their branch of Tesco's, and how they've tried to work me sort of thing. You know, we'll all know what's been going on with that sort of thing. You know, it's why they bother, I'll never know, the scientists. But anyway, this seems to be their preoccupation. But yeah, thinking about, and they're essentially, you know, they've reduced themselves to the status of socket girls and shelf-stockers at Tesco. Technically accurate. You know, even though they do, I don't know, but yeah, that's quite significant. The that event with Robert De Niro's cock sounds crazy, but it is actually really significant. You know, when you really look into it. But yeah. As for my future mission in Amsterdam, it's none of your business what we get up to in the bedroom. Yeah, but I've seen many vehicles about, you know, many minis, for example, a British car called the Mini. And you know, I do like mini skirts. I think many blokes do. You know, and yeah, it's like I do. You know, she does put on a mini skirt for me now and again. Not always. It's not the only. It's not the only thing she wears in the bedroom, sort of thing. You know, you've got to have a bit of variety, which is more than I can say for the shelf stackers and the socket girls. When you really boil it down, you know, just branch the Tesco's. That's about it, really. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll be quite a challenge to get to Amsterdam, even though it shouldn't be. But I'm looking forward to it. I've got playlists, you know, to prepare me to sort of just think, well, you know, all right. So there's loads of shelf stackers and socket girls who work for Branch Tesco, who were you know, intoxicated with things like, I don't know, Seattle Spag Bowl type manifestos, which again are you know, paraphrased, it's sort of bullshit ideologies and ways of life. You know, when you have those shit relationships with texts, you know, and you know, I've got a pretty how can I put it? Measured, grounded, level-headed approach to text. The trouble is, the shelf stackers and the socket girls don't really seem to, you know, which can be quite amusing at times. But yeah, so I've got a meeting with someone or other next week, and then I've got to discard my coffee machine the week after. This is let's have a look. Let's have a look. What have I got to do this month? Yeah, meeting with someone next week, get that out of the way. The week after, I've got to discard my coffee machine. That's pretty much it for the month. And then we'll be into another month. So, you know, a month closer to going to Amsterdam. Well, yeah. My lamb chops. they were out of date, so I had to chuck them, which I'm pretty disappointed about because I was looking forward to them. But I've ordered loads of chocolate that I really like. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I can't really think what to get. You know, I'd like to get something to while away the hours sort of thing. Because the TV, like I said, essentially it's branched to Tesco's, socket girls and shelf stackers. You know, and with a sort of a subordinate relationship with Tex. Which again, looking back to one of the architects of Robert De Niro's cock, where essentially one of the architects was essentially Robert De Niro's cock when you really think about it. I would say, you know, technically accurate. Think about it. You know, it is actually, you know, it does make sense. But yeah, so really not much on until I go to Amsterdam. Really, you know, or live. You know, adjacent to possibly the most boring branch of Tesco's in the world, despite significant competition, where nothing happens and nothing ever has and nothing ever will. I watch boring TV, Tesco TV, where there's never anything on. There's any interest, you know, or do sit here with my future Mrs. Amsterdam. We watch it, we think, yeah, again, there's, you know, there's nothing on the telly again. So what do? We just, like, I don't know, sit around listening to some music, watching some videos and stuff like that, which is what you do. Yeah, and sort of mull over this socket girl, shelf stacker, you know, issue that the branch of Tesco's really have got. Yeah, so really, the original cock of Robert De Niro is pretty much intoxicated the socket girls and shelf stackers into also becoming like Robert De Niro's cock. But, you know, I did try to say, personally I find it really boring because, you know, once you figure out, well, yeah, that's the way things are. There is really, you know, there's not that much interest in it. You know, that's just the way it is. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm preparing for Amsterdam. You know, and yeah. So yeah, but yeah, quite a while to go now. But next summer, you know, I'm gonna have to, you know, start really thinking about that because obviously, what with all the Tesco branches, you know, essentially shit-faced. You know, it's gonna be, you know, it's going to take. It may well take more effort than it really should need to, sort of thing. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, so I watch a bit of TV. You know, and like I said, listen to some music. I've got a great app, well, a good enough app, on my phone, on my mobile phone, for listening to audio. So I've got a pretty adequate setup, really, for what I want to do. Before I go to Amsterdam. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, so a bit more watching Tesco TV. I'm just thinking about Why really do people have these insufficient, subordinate, lacking approaches to text, where they effectively, like the architects, become little more than socket girls, shelf stackers, and really just more Robert De Niro's cocks.